Mic check. Let me know when we live, y'all.
We too up, sir.
Huh?
We too up.
We good on both?
Come.
If I could real quick, could Paratazar or somebody just go on the YouTube and the Facebook and check, because last time the sound wasn't hooked up through the mics. So I just want to make sure everybody who's online can hear the mics and everything. And then we're gonna get right into it. Does I hear it? Sound good? It sound like it's coming out the mic. All right, let me see. Mic check 1 2. All right, we good. All right, let's get started. We the ISUPK coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We've been doing this since 1969, letting the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians know that you are a lost sheep on the house of Israel. And today on the Long Island class, we're gonna go over the how much money our oppressor made for us being slaves here in America. Because you gotta remember, they made money off us tax-free. And the most money they ever made from us was from cotton. You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to make more money illegally out of slavery with our brothers, again, the so-called Mexicans. We're gonna bring all that out here today. You know what I'm saying? But if I could real quick, let me get Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Because we're about to get into why we were here picking cotton. You know what I'm saying? Little milk scriptures, but everybody should know why we're here. You could start at verse 15. You know what I'm saying? Start at verse 1. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. Mm-hmm.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1.
Right.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently.
If we shall what?
Hearken diligently. Unto the voice of the Most High thy God.
Right.
To observe.
And
to observe.
Right.
And to do all his commandments.
And do what?
All his commandments.
Right. It said to observe and do all his commandments. Keep going.
Which I commanded thee this day.
Right. That
the Most High, thy power, will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right. So if we was to do the Lord's statutes and commandments, we was supposed to be set high above on the face of the earth. If we would have kept the Lord's statutes and commandments and not been stiff, hard-necked, we would have been over these other nations. We wouldn't have to worry about going to work 9 to 5. We wouldn't have to worry about can you take off because your grandma's sick, your mother's sick. You gotta take her to the hospital, the doctor, and what happened? You gotta call your job out. Call out of work. You can't call out of work because you don't got no more sick days. You don't got no more vacation days. So what do? You struggle between going to work or going to your save your moms or take your moms to the doctor or whoever might need your help or assistance at the moment. But it says what?
That the Most High thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Right, we was going to set high above all nations above the earth. Keep going. Keep going, Shaw.
Verse 2.
Right.
And all these blessings.
And all these what?
Blessings.
All these what?
Blessings.
Listen, we would have had blessings. The scripture said, the Most High God said we would have blessings upon us if we would have followed the law, statutes, and commandments. We wouldn't have been in the predicament that we're in right now.
Right.
We wouldn't have to worry about coming together as a people because we were already been together. We wouldn't have to worry about killing each other with guns or being whores or pimps or shooting each other with gang violence. Colors, man. We kill people over goddamn colors, man. A color that you want to wear, you can't wear at certain places. You want to wear red, you can't wear red. You want to wear blue, black, yellow, certain places you can't wear those goddamn colors. And what happened? You murdering each other over goddamn colors, man. Keep going.
Shall come on thee.
Listen, those will come on you. But what happened? We didn't listen to the Most High. We ain't abide by the law, statutes, and commandments. And because of that, drop down to verse 15.
Verse 15.
Right.
But it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken.
Yeah, we didn't hearken to the Most High God. We didn't hearken to our Father. We damn it basically didn't even hearken on to Moses at first. We was chastising Moses, bothering him about taking us back to Egypt, this and that. And what happened? We damn sure didn't follow him, and we wasn't going to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. And because of that, what happened, Shaw?
But it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Right.
To observe.
To what?
Observe.
Listen, that's important. We observe. We didn't observe the laws, statutes, and commandments. We didn't look at them. We ain't do them. We just heard them. It was like, yeah, we'll do that. And what happened?
To do all his commandments. And his statutes.
Right.
Which I commanded thee this day.
Right.
That all these curses.
All these what?
Curses.
All these what?
Curses.
Listen, us being in slavery was a what?
Curse.
Us picking cotton all day to the sun up to the sundown. It was a what?
Curse.
It was a curse, man. It was an absolute curse for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to go through that, man. We was not supposed to be picking cotton till our goddamn bones full of, our muscles full of, till we had damn near. Listen, we gonna bring it out, but we had brothers that was working in their early 20s to 25s, and they dug them up. They thought they were damn near 50 years old, 60 years old. That's how hard our oppressor was working us during slavery, man. He was working us so hard that physically our bodies looked like we belonged to a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old. But that's because we ain't want to observe these laws, statutes, and commandments. Right. Keep going, Sean.
Shall come upon thee,
right,
and overtake thee.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 16. Curse shalt thou be.
You could drop down to verse 48. So what's one of the curses that we suffer from for not following these laws, statutes, and commandments?
Verse 48.
Right.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
We would do what?
Serve thine enemies.
Listen, that's in the scriptures, man. Black people would do what?
Serve thine enemies.
The Native Indians would do what?
Serve thine enemies.
The so-called Mexicans.
Serve thine enemies.
The so-called Jamaicans, West Indians.
Serve thine enemies.
The so-called Seminole Indians.
Serve thine enemies.
The Brazilian, because the Brazilians are Israelites.
Serve thine enemies.
Listen, we were out there serving our enemies. You know why? Because we disobeyed the Most High God, man. We didn't abide by the laws, statutes, and commandments. And because of that, what happened, Shaw?
Therefore, thou shalt serve thine enemies.
Listen, we would serve thy enemies, man. We weren't going to be our own man. You know, brothers, they go to jail and realize they're not their own man no more, right? You go in these prisons, what happened? You gotta wake up when your boss tell you. Your oppressor tells you gotta wake up at 7, clean your bed, take it this, that. You in a cell next to another brother or a devil. You can't go anywhere you want. You gotta go in the yard when he says to. You gotta eat when he says to. You got you do bowel movements when he says to, man. It's because of what, Shaw?
Therefore, thou shalt serve thine enemies.
Listen, we will serve thy enemies. This is something, remember, we are stiff, hard-necked people. We're stiff, hard-necked. We don't want to listen to nobody. We ain't listening to our Father.
Right.
We ain't want to listen to our Father, the one that loved us, the one that told us we was going to be above all nations. Because we ain't want to listen to him, what happened, Shaw?
Therefore, shalt thou serve thine enemies.
Listen, now you got to serve somebody that don't care for you. You got to serve somebody that don't love you. You got to serve somebody that's going to make you work Monday through Monday, 9 to 5. You about to leave at 5 o'clock. He's asking you, can you do a double shift? That's the type of person now you have to serve. Where your father, he told you was above all nations.
Right.
He told you, listen, they gotta come for you. They gotta come to you if they want goods. They gotta come to you if they want to leave somewhere. They gotta come to you if they want to take care of their family business. But because we disobeyed our father, what now?
Therefore, shalt thou serve thine enemy.
Now we gotta serve our enemy. Now we gotta do something we didn't want to do, even with our fathers. Now we are forced to serve thy enemy. Now we are forced to do things we absolutely didn't want to do. And guess what? You was picking cotton Monday through Monday.
Right.
You was making America the greatest kingpin of cotton in the goddamn world, to the point that America was making trillions of dollars in the 1800s.
Right.
I got the records. They were making millions upon millions of dollars. They couldn't afford to have us not be slaves, man. They wanted us to be slaves so the money could keep going. The money could keep flowing. The money could just stay there. And guess what? They could build their businesses. Right. They could build these railroads, these planes, these skyscrapers, these train stations. Listen, all the stuff you see in America, it belongs to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. Don't be dismayed. Don't be confused. Every building you see that in this world, especially in America, belongs to Black people, man.
Right.
One goddamn slave owner alone made about $70 million in 1830s. You gotta go back to how much $70 million was that back then. It's not how it is now. $70 million back then is almost in the billions. They were making billions of dollars off Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Don't ever let a devil tell you that they don't owe you nothing.
Right.
They owe us absolutely everything, man. These fashion companies, these milk companies, these amusement parks, whatever your eyes see that has a oppressor's face and a goddamn signature on their bills, the CEO, he owes you something, man. They owe you something. There's more than 50 acres in a goddamn mule, man. They owe you the goddamn world by how much money they made off our backs. But the scripture says what, y'all?
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy.
Right.
Which the Most High shall send against thee.
Who will send against us?
The Most High shall send against thee.
Listen, the Most High send this beast against us, this devil, this enemy against us. Our Father that loves us so much, he sent the enemy to chastise us.
Right.
To beat us, to whip us. You know why? Because we didn't want to be above all people. We took it for granted. We took for granted the love that the Most High give. We took for granted the destruction he did in Egypt for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We took for granted on how powerful he was. Keep going, Shaw.
In hunger.
Uh-huh.
And in thirst.
Listen, we will go for this devil for what?
In hunger. And in thirst.
Uh-huh.
And in nakedness.
And in what?
Nakedness.
Listen, we'll be naked too. We go from hunger, thirst, and in nakedness. Keep going.
And in want.
And in want. The things you want, guess what? You have to go to your oppressor. You want a day off? Guess what? We gotta go to your oppressor. You need money because you don't have a job? Guess what? You gotta go to your oppressor. You got a hole in your roof, asbestos, black mold. Guess who you gotta go to? Your landlord. And who your landlord goes to? Your oppressor, man. Everything that makes America run is from your oppressor. And because we're cursed, we gotta go through him for all needs, all wants. Keep going, Shaw.
And in want of all things.
And what?
And in want of all things.
Keep going.
And he shall put a yoke.
He should put a what?
A yoke.
A yoke. Keep that in mind. He put a what?
A yoke.
He put a yoke like we some goddamn cattle. Remember, we were in cattle slavery. He put a yoke. Go ahead, Shaw.
Of iron.
Of what?
Iron.
No, of love.
Iron.
Of plastic.
Iron.
He put a bow tie over us.
Iron.
A suit.
Iron.
He put iron. Keep going.
Upon thy neck.
Upon what?
Thy neck.
Upon thy neck. Because that's how much he loves us so much. That's how much the oppressor loves you so goddamn much. He put a yoke of what?
Iron. Upon thy neck.
He put a yoke of iron upon your neck because he thought you was a cattle. He thought you was no better than the bull he had running around in his field. That he put a what?
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
Listen, he put a yoke of iron upon your neck. Keep going.
Until he have destroyed
Until
me.
What?
Until he have destroyed
Until
me.
he has destroyed you, man. He had you in the field like cattle until he has destroyed you. Because that's how much he loves you so much. That's how much your oppressor cares for you so much. You know that, right? He swears he loves everybody. He's a God-fearing man. God loves everybody, but according to him and his philosophy, he thinks we're cattle.
Right.
He puts yokes of iron on our neck until we're destroyed, man. But if I could, let's get into this. Let me really explain to you how much money we were making for this devil. So I'm gonna give you my laptop, and you're gonna start with this article right here.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Read the title. Because remember what we're going over. We're going over us being slave, being cursed, and we're making all this money for America. America does not run without blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians being slaves. If we are not slaves, guess what? America cannot function. America cannot flourish. America will fall and be destroyed if blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are not working being slaves. That means minimum wage gotta be low, inflation gotta be high. You got to do double time. You got to be an essential worker. All that is needed for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to for America to prosper. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians got to be put in slavery. But if I could, Shaw, read what you got with the article.
This article is from the Atlantic.
Right.
Empire of Cotton. Mm-hmm. Cotton is so ubiquitous as to be almost invisible. Right. Yet understanding its history is key to understanding the origins of modern capitalism.
Right. So you have to understand modern capitalism. You got to understand the history of picking cotton. Keep going, Shaw.
By the time shots were fired on Fort Sumter in April 1861, cotton was the core ingredient of the world's most important manufacturing industry.
Right.
The manufacture of cotton, yarn, and cloth had grown into the greatest industry that ever had or could possibly have ever existed in any age or country.
Right.
According to the self-congratulatory, but essentially accurate account of British cotton merchant John Benjamin Smith, by multiple measures, the sheer numbers employed, the value of output, profitably, the cotton empire had no parallel.
Right, keep going.
One author boldly estimated that in 1862, fully 20 million people worked worldwide. 1 out of every 65 people alive were involved in or the product of cotton cloth.
Right. So read that again. It says one author boldly estimated that what?
One author boldly estimated that in 1862, fully 20 million people worldwide, 1 out of every 65 people alive,
right,
were involved in the cultivation of cotton.
Right. So it's like, out of 65 people in 1862 worldwide had their hand in cotton, man. That's how much money that was in cotton that some people had to get into it. Our oppressor needed to get into cotton. Keep going, Shaw.
Or the production of cotton cloth.
Right.
In England alone, which still counted 2/3 of the world's mechanical spindles in its factories.
Mm-hmm.
The livelihood of between 1/5 and 1/4 of the population was based on the industry.
Right.
1/10 of all British capital was invested in it. And close to 1/2 of all exports.
You could drop down to the next paragraph.
Go on, card.
Where it says the industry.
Come on, card. The industry had brought great wealth to European manufacturers.
Right.
and merchants,
Mm-hmm.
and bleak employment to hundreds of thousands of male workers.
Right.
Had also catapulted the United States onto center stage of world economy, building a most successful agricultural
right.
industry in the states of America, which has been ever contemplated or realized. Cotton exports alone put the United States on the world economic map.
Right.
On the eve of the Civil War, raw cotton constituted 61% of the value of all U.S. products.
How much percent?
61%.
Right. So it's like, on the eve of the Civil War, raw cotton constructed 61% of the value of all U.S. products. That means 61% in America, the value in America was cotton. 61%. That's how much important cotton was during the 18 what?
God.
What was it? 1780s?
Let me go up, sir.
Well, right. In the 1780s, man. Listen, that's how much cotton was important to our oppressor. That's why he had us slaves. That's why he had us picking cotton sun up to sundown. He needs 2,000 bales of cotton, man. He needs this amount of cotton. He needs that amount of cotton. You have to realize how crazy that is. Just look at cotton. Just go to your local convenience store and try to buy one of those small bags of cotton. It's damn near barely 20 ounces. It's 2 ounces. You get 100 cotton balls in that bag. It barely touches an ounce or two. Your oppressor wanted 2,000 pounds of cotton. By the end of the day, if you don't have that, guess what? Your son is being sold. Your daughters is being sold. Your mother being sold. You might not have your wife by the end of the day if I can't get 1,000 pounds of cotton by everybody in this whole field. That's how much a devil your oppressor is, man. Keep going, Charles.
Got one cotton. Read that sentence. Raw cotton constituted 61% of the volume of all U.S. products shipped abroad. For the beginning of the cotton boom in the 1780s.
Right.
North America had been a promising but marginal player in the global economy. Now, in 1861, the flagship of global capitalism, Great Britain found itself dangerously dependent on the white gold ship out of New York, New Orleans, Charleston, and other American ports.
Right. So New York, New Orleans, and Charleston, and other American ports. Those are the ports they were shipping all this cotton to. Keep going.
By the late 1850s, cotton grown in the United States accounted for 77%.
It says what?
Cotton grown in the United States accounted for 77%.
It says by the late 1850s, cotton grown in the United States counted for 77% of what?
Percent of 800 million pounds of cotton consumed in Britain.
Listen, that's a lot of cotton, man. Just think about how much cotton you was picking. Just think about that. It says it was 77% of 800 million pounds of cotton consumed in Britain. That's how much cotton we was picking for free. You didn't get paid. You ain't get a bonus check. You ain't get a day off. You ain't get a vacation. That's how much money you was making for your oppressor, man. You was making that much money. What was it? 800 million pounds. So you gotta really think about how light cotton is, man. They bought fields and fields and fields of cotton to make sure that they could make this quota. They had you dying by the abundance to make sure this quota was met every year for the British. We gotta make sure they get 800 million pounds of cotton for the British so we can make more money. They need coats, they need blankets, they need pillows, they need all that. So guess what? We gotta make you slave harder. We gotta slave harder. We gotta die. You gotta wake up earlier. You can't sleep. You gotta miss all your meals for the day. Your children, you ain't gonna see them for the month because we need this amount of cotton picked. Keep going, Charles.
It also accounted for 90% of the 192 million pounds used in France. 60% of 115 million pounds spun in the Zelvidian, and 92% of the 102 million pounds manufactured in Russia.
Drop down to the not the next paragraph, the paragraph after where it says slavery stood.
Slavery stood at the center of the most dynamic and far-reaching production complex in human history. Too often, we prefer to erase the realities of slavery.
Right.
Expropriation and colonism from the history of capitalism, craving a nobler, cleaner capitalism. 19th century observers, in contrast, were organic cotton's role in reshaping the world.
So understand how much cotton shaped the world for America. Not just America, but Britain, France, Europe, Russia. Cotton helped save them. You know what that means? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians saved everybody. While everybody was falling and dying, guess what? A nigga on the street named Tyrone, he saved the world. They would like to say he's nothing but a crackhead or someone high off heroin, but guess what? That brother saved America. That sister that needs help with her 8 kids, and what she has to do, she has to prostitute or strip. Guess what? She helped save America. Don't be fooled. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians saved Babylon. We saved this devil from being destroyed, man. For falling into ashes. You know why? Because you slaved for him for over 400 years, free. Nothing, no money, no nothing, free. And he made billions upon billions of dollars between each other. Keep going, Shaw.
Herman Merivale, British colonial bureaucrat, noted that Manchester's and Liverpool's opulence is as really owing to the toil and suffering of the Negro, as if his hands had excavated their docks and fabricated their steam engines. Capital accumulation and commodity production, according to Merivale, was necessary for metropolitan economic expansion and access to labor, if necessary by coercion, was as precondition for turning abundant lands into productive suppliers of raw materials. Whether celebrating the material advances generated from slavery or calling for slavery's abolition, many contemporaries agreed by the 1850s that global economic development required physical coercion. Slavery enabled the stunning advances of industry and the accompanying profit. Contemporaries, however, worried that this vast and sparkling machine was merely a facade, amplifying long-standing European worries about the political stability of the United States as an industry tributary to foreign countries, observed British political economist Leon Levi.
Right. Well, with that, you can hold that article, because that article has it's very long, you know what I'm saying, and winded, because it starts from the very beginning and it brings you all the way up to date. You know what I'm saying? But can't really spend that much time on that article. I want you to go to the next article. If you look on the next page, if you see it, it says the economics of cotton.
Sir.
Yeah, read that. Read where the first paragraph. It should be on the top. You see the blades on the top?
Con, I'm trying to click on the link.
No, it should be up there already. If you look on the page.
The economics of cotton, sir?
Right, that one.
Kind of one card. The economics of cotton.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go down to the paragraph.
Right. Yeah, go down to the paragraph.
Kind of one card. In the antebellum era, that is, in the years before Civil War, American planters in the South continued to grow Chesapeake tobacco.
Tobacco, right? No, you got it.
In Carolina rice, as they had in the colonial era. Cotton, however, emerged as the antebellum South's major commercial crop.
Right. So you gotta remember, this is the South major crop was cotton. That's why they fought in the Civil War. They fought to keep you slaves. Right. At the end of the day, they was making so much money, and the North saw it that listen, we gotta stop this before the South becomes the richest states. So that's what really why the whole Civil War happened, because they wanted that money to be spread everywhere. Keep going.
Eclipsing tobacco, rice, and sugar in economic importance. By 1860, the region was producing 2/3 of the world's cotton.
Right.
In 1793, Eli Whitney revolutionized the production of cotton when he invented the cotton gin, a device that separated the seeds from raw cotton. Suddenly, our process was extraordinarily labor intensive.
You could drop down the Cotton King.
Come on, God. Cotton King. Almost no cotton was grown in the United States in 1787.
Right.
The year of federal constitution was written. However, following the War of 1812, a huge increase in production resulted in the so-called cotton boom.
Right.
And by mid-century, cotton became the key cash crop, a crop grown to sell rather than for the farmer's sole use of the Southern economy, and the most important American commodity. By 1850 of the 3.2 million slaves in the country's 15 slave states,
right,
1.8 million were producing cotton.
How much?
1.8 million were producing cotton.
So it says by 1850, of the 3.12 million slaves in the country's 15 slave states. So it's saying 3.2 million slaves out of the 15 states. How much, Shaw?
1.8 million were producing cotton.
So it's damn near half the slaves was producing cotton out of these 15 states. Keep going.
By 1860, slave labor was producing over 2 billion.
How much?
2 billion.
How much?
2 billion pounds of cotton per year.
Right.
Indeed, American cotton soon made up 2/3 of the global
How
supply.
much?
American cotton soon made up 2/3 of the global supply.
Listen, that's how much cotton we were picking for our oppressor, man. That it made up 2/3 of the global economy. That means, guess what? If China needed cotton, guess where they were coming? They were coming to America. If France needed cotton, guess where they were coming? They were coming to America. If Russia needed cotton, guess what? I'm going to America.
Right.
If goddamn the Saudi Arabia needed cotton, guess where they coming? They coming to America. Right. Because we had so much slaves picking nothing but cotton, it made us rich. It made us rich. Shalom, Yeshua, sir. It made us so rich. Question, brother?
Yeah, I got a question. All right, so would you say that, like you said, with China and all these other countries that benefited
right
off of that, would you say that because they would come over here of our people, picking all of this cotton,
right,
would that make them our enemies also?
With the other nations?
Yeah.
Absolutely. They are enemies even before us picking cotton.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They are absolutely our enemy. Not only because we're they're getting cotton from something that's illegal, but because they know who we are. You gotta remember, these people know who we are. They all know they got the children of Israel. That's why they took out certain books out the so-called scriptures. That's why we don't know that growing up, we ain't know nothing about no apocrypha. Just think about going to church. I ain't hear nothing about no apocrypha. I ain't hear nothing about no Maccabees, no Ecclesiastes, the second part of Esther. Is because they didn't want you to know the true meaning when all the books are together. When you find out about the apocrypha, who you get? You get Harriet Tubman. What's the other brother's name? Always slips my mind. What's the other brother's name, Shaw?
Nat Turner?
Yeah, Nat Turner. Nat Turner found out the apocrypha that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is better than our oppressor. What happened? He start going on a killing spree.
Right.
He start waking brothers up, talking about we better than them. And what happened? They murdered that brother. They killed that brother so bad that they started sharing trinkets of his killing. One person took a foot, one person took this, somebody took a shirt, somebody took an ear, because that's our oppressors saw that he had to be eradicated and then shown as a trinket, shown as what they call that Paratazar, when they hunt something and they put it as you know what I'm talking about. They hunt like the biggest lion and they take the head of it. Right. It's a trophy, but it's like a hunting term I'm looking for. I forget the term. Right, like a game, right? It's like they showing like, listen, we had the baddest of their bunch and we killed their leader. And because of that, look, I have his sword, or I have his head. Look at his head on the wall. That's how they treated Nat Turner when they killed him. They was like, listen, I'm gonna take this pants of him that he killed one of my brothers. I'm gonna take this pants and let people know that we killed Nat Turner, and this is what we did to him. That's what they did to our brother. That's what happens when we find out the true meaning of following the law, statutes, and commandments. We start waking the hell up. We start waking our hell up and start coming together as we should. We start leading brothers to the goddamn promised land when you start realizing who you are.
Right.
That's why the oppressor keeps you docile. That's why he wants you to start saying love everybody. Jesus loves. Come to church, pay your tithes, pay double tithes, and eat pork and shrimp and lobster, and don't mind me having sex with your daughter in the back. But love me regardless of what I do. That's what happens when we don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. But if you could, Shaw, keep going.
And production continued to soar. By the time of the Civil War,
right?
South Carolina politician James Hammond confidently
So like I can't. Where you are now? Continue so by the civil rights South Carolina politician James Hammond confidently
proclaimed that the North could never threaten the South because cotton is king.
Right. So it's like, you know, the Civil War, they felt that nobody could defeat the South because why? We make all the money. We the states are king. We're cotton king, and because of that, how you gonna come down here and try to eradicate slavery? You trying to abolish slavery? Well, most of the goddamn cotton in America comes from us. Keep going, Shaw.
The crop grown in the South was a hybrid Gossypium barbadensis, known as Petite Gulf cotton, a mix of Mexican, Georgia, and Siamese strains. Petite Gulf cotton grew extremely well in different soils and climates. It dominated cotton production in the Mississippi River Valley, home of the new slave states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Missouri, as well as in other states like Texas. Whenever new slave states entered the Union, white slaveholders sent armies of slaves to pick the lucrative crop.
Right.
The phrase to be sold down the river, used by Harriet Beecher Stowe in her 1852 novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin, refers to this forced migration from the upper southern states to the deep south,
Right.
lower on the Mississippi, to grow cotton.
Right. Keep going.
The states who built
The
this
slaves.
the slaves who built this cotton kingdom with their labor started by clearing the land. Although the Jeffersonian vision of the settlement of new U.S. territories entailed white yeomen, farmers single-handedly carving out small independent farms, the reality proved quite different. Entire old-growth forests the acts as slaves labor to strip the make way of cotton.
Right.
To make way for cotton.
Right. Real quick, I'm gonna speed through some of the stuff that's really important real quick. All right, it says cotton picking took place in March and April, and when slaves planted seeds in rows around 3 to 5 feet apart. Over the next several months, from April to August, they carefully tended the plants. Weeding the cotton rows took significantly energy and time. So that's why I remember planting cotton wasn't easy. So you see where I'm at, Shaw, right? It's two paragraphs down, which is cotton planting took place.
Go on, Carl.
All right, no sweat. So it's letting you know that picking cotton and planting cotton is a difficult task. You have to do this and that. So it says weeding the cotton rows took significant energy and time. In August, after the cotton plants have flowered and the flowers have begun to give away to cotton balls, the seeds-bearing collapse that contains the cotton fiber. All the plantation slaves, men, women, and children worked together to pick the crop. On each day of cotton picking, slaves went to the fields with sacks, and which would fill as many times as they could. The effort was laborious and white. White driver employed a lash to make slaves work as quick as possible. So basically, there was a taskmaster there with a goddamn whip, making sure that the men, women, and children work fast to pick this cotton. Because remember, it's millions upon millions of cotton that's being picked yearly. So guess what? Y'all gotta pick cotton fast. I gotta make sure that you pick the same amount of cotton or more daily. Right. So what happens? I'm gonna make sure the taskmaster is out there picking this. I'm gonna make sure he's out there making sure you pick that, whipping you when you get tired. You fall to the ground. Guess what? He's gonna whip you until you get back up. The keep picking goddamn cotton. It says cotton planters projected an amount of cotton that could be harvested based on the number of slaves under their control. In general, planters expected a good hand or slave to work 10 acres of land and pick 200 pounds of cotton a day. So remember, this is one slave master. One slave master had his slaves picking 200 pounds. Remember, it went according to whatever that slave master wanted. One says 200 pounds. Some might say 500. Another might be 1,000. If I remember, in what was it 12 years a slave? Remember, there was one that the girl that was good at picking cotton, and they had to beat her of picking cotton. And what happened? He would whip that girl every day. Her reward of picking so much cotton was a whipping. That's the type of mindset. That's the type of devil we're dealing with. That he don't even give that person a break. What he gonna do? He's gonna whip you. He's gonna whip you. You know why? So you can go faster. And guess what? Tomorrow, when you beat the quota, what you beat today, I'm gonna whip you again. This is the type of devil we deal with.
Right.
But so I lost the place. Okay. An overseer or a master measure each individual slave daily yard. Great pleasure extended to meet the expect daily amount, and some masters whip slaves who pick less than expected. Cotton picking occurred as many as 7 times a season as the plant grew and continued to produce balls through the fall and early winter. During the picking season, slaves worked from sunrise to sunset with a 10-minute break at lunch. So look at that. You're working all day and all you get is a 10-minute break on the clock. You ain't even off the clock. You on the clock. He watching you like TikTok, nigga. This is geek minutes. Look, you taking all that time. Look at that. You got 4 minutes. Paratazar.
Who said that they was getting 10 minutes?
Right.
That's just he said.
Right. That's him saying. It could have been 10 minutes. Could be like, all right, that's 10 minutes in my eyes. I'm the Lord. 10 minutes is 10 seconds to me. Back to work. You know what I'm saying? It could have been no minutes. It could have been none. But before I get back into it, keep going. I want to show how crazy it is. Where is this article? Real quick. Boom, here we go. I don't think I sent this to you, Shaw, but read this part. Here, read this. It's on my phone. I didn't send it to that. But read the title, right? And go down to the second paragraph when it says how the dead speak. All right? Read the top.
Come on, Con. You want me to read the top of this?
Yeah, read what it says.
Come on, Con. Archaeologists found the bones of 3 young African men in a 500-year-old mass grave.
Listen, archaeologists found 3 black men in a 500-year-old grave, right? So we're going to get into how our bodies were working this long, crazy hours being slaves. Drop down where it says archaeologists.
Come on, Con. Archaeologists unearthed the mass grave in 1992 while digging a new subway line in Mexico City.
Right. Yeah, water. Ice too, Paul. Right. So listen, they were doing what, Shaw?
Archaeologists unearthed the mass grave in 1992 while digging a new subway line in Mexico City.
Right. So they were building a new Mexican line in Mexico City. Keep going, Shaw.
500 years earlier, the site had been the grounds of the Hospital Real de San Jose de los Naturales. The Spanish colonizers had built the hospital to great indigenous people.
Right.
That's what Los Naturales means in Spanish. But these 3 men were African.
Right.
Not North or Central American. Their bones, radiocarbon, dated to the 1500s. Right. CE, which means them, which makes them part of an important but often anonymous group of people. The first African people abducted,
It closed.
Abducted the Atlantic Ocean to European colonies in the.
So these brothers was bought from. It's gonna go in South Africa. Remember, we was part of the transatlantic slave trade where they got us from South Africa. So these brothers was bought from over there, and they brought them all the way to Mexico to do some slavery work. Right. Keep going, Shaw.
Of the 10 to 20 million people transported to the Atlantic over the next 300 years,
right?
Nearly 150,000, like these 3 men.
Right. So it's like, out there that ended like these 3 brothers. Keep going.
And the colony of New Spain, like countless other oppressed and otherwise overlooked people throughout human history. They left behind no written accounts, no artifacts to hint at their lives, and no names. Only their bodies tell their story. Right.
So that's how our oppressor works. Our oppressor will get the nation of people, whoever he's conquering and taking over, he'll destroy everything. He'll destroy their works, destroy their language, destroy their animals, destroy their people, destroy their culture. And all that's left is bones. All that's left is writings and rocks. Right. All that's left is what? A skull with a hole in it. Because he's the devil. Keep going, Shaw.
And the stories they tell are difficult to witness. Even now, all 3 men died young.
All 3 men. Just listen on. Keep going.
In their mid-20s.
How old?
Mid-20s.
Remember, we go around thinking we won't make it to goddamn 18. Right. You in the world be like, man, I made it to 18. Man, listen, my father, my mother told me I might not make it. There's gang violence out there and Crips and Bloods and there's drive-bys. Well, you should really be worrying about your oppressor. Your oppressor truly does not want you to make it past your 20s.
Right.
He wants you just as dead as these brothers right here. Keep going, Shaw.
Come on. Their skeletons bore the marks
Uh-huh.
of years of brutality.
Years of what?
Brutality.
Uh-huh.
Hard labor.
Hard what?
Labor.
Brutality and what?
Hard labor.
That's picking cotton, man. That's picking cotton. That's being whipped. That's making sure that it's done before the sun goes down. Keep going, Shaw.
Bone breaking injuries.
Bone breaking what?
Injuries.
Keep going.
And a starvation.
Wait, what?
And a starvation.
It said the article said they had how much minutes to eat, Paratazar? How much minutes they had to eat? Said the oppressor gave you 10 minutes to eat. 10 minutes. And these brothers, what happened, Shaw?
And a starvation diet.
And they had a starvation diet. That's how much cotton you was picking. You was picking so much cotton that you had a starvation diet.
Right.
All you had to eat was nothing. Plate of nothing in the morning, plate of nothing in the evening, and a plate of nothing before you go to bed. A little plate of nothing. And a midnight snack of nothing. Keep going, Shaw.
Come on. In their teeth, archaeologists found traces of DNA from 2 pathogens that probably left the men with painful chronic illnesses.
Well, listen, and you had damn near probably what was it called? The gangrene in the mouth. We probably had all types of sicknesses that your oppressor can fix now.
Right.
Keep going.
But their bones also tell the story of where they come from.
Here we go. Keep going.
Written in chemical isotope ratios in DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Hard, painful lives. All 3 men were around 25 years old
Right.
when they died.
Uh-huh.
But brutal physical strain.
But what?
But brutal physical strain
Uh-huh.
had wore their bodies down.
That what?
Wore their bodies down.
Listen, brutal what?
Brutal physical strain.
Brutal physical strain, man. Wore our bodies down. Just think about that. Our brothers, our ancestors, your great-great-grandfather, your great-great-grandmother, listen, all those people that went through slavery, right? Their bodies was going through hard, what, Shaw?
Physical strain.
Physical strain. Just think about now. We complain about our backs hurt as slaves.
Right.
You stand up for what, 10, 12 hours and you tired. You ready to go home because you know you got to do it tomorrow. You got to keep walking back and forth daily at your job until Friday hits. But the thing about us, what? By the graces of God, man, you got Friday off sometimes, Saturday off, Sunday off. This oppressor loves his holidays.
Right.
So most jobs, what? They're off on Thanksgiving. They off of Christmas, New Year's. You get to celebrate the God of Janus. But during slavery, what happened, Shaw?
But brutal physical strain had worn their bodies down.
Listen, during our slavery, we had physical pain, man.
Right.
We was being worked to death. Our bodies was taking utmost all types of pain and brutality and strain and just keep reading, Shaw. Keep going.
Come, sir. One man, by his mid-20s, already had 5 herniated discs.
Wait, read that again.
By his mid-20s.
Remember, this is one brother they found in his bones. By his mid-20s, what happened?
Already had 5 herniated discs.
5 herniated discs. If you don't know what that is, man, go Google that. Go look that up and realize how painful a hernia disc is. Not just one. This brother had 5. Keep going, Shaw.
5 herniated discs in his back.
In his back. Keep going.
And his left collarbone had been reshaped by years of carrying heavy loads on his shoulders.
Listen, the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man.
That's right.
Your oppressor made our brother with 5 hernia discs and a heavy load on his back still working. Remember, it said that his shoulder got deformed. That's what it said, Shaw. Read it again.
And his left collarbone
His left collarbone
had been reshaped.
it reshaped. So his collarbone reshaped. Why, Shaw?
By years of carrying heavy loads on his shoulders.
So listen, he was carrying heavy loads. I'm telling you, it's cotton. I'm telling you, it's cotton. Because remember, cotton is light. It takes a lot of cotton in the goddamn bag for it to be pounds.
Right.
So he had all this weight on his shoulder so many times over the years that it reshaped his collarbone.
Right.
Our brother had to endure that. Remember this, he ain't stopped. He was working through all this during the years. Working through all this. And this is just one of the brothers. Keep going, Shaw.
Probably the same loads that had wrecked his back.
That had what?
Wrecked his back.
Yeah, that wrecked his back. Keep going.
Another had osteoarthritis.
Listen, another brother had a severe case of some type of arthritis. Keep going.
In at least one knee. And a lower spine full of degenerative bone damage.
Listen, his lower spine had bone damage. He had bad arthritis in his knee, and he had a lower spine damage. And guess what he had to do? Still make sure the cotton was picked. Still make sure this was done. Still make sure that was done. Listen, the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man.
That's right.
He's making sure all this cotton is picked. You know why? Because he has a quota to meet. He cannot make 800 million pounds of cotton a year if you're suffering and then you stop.
Right.
If you're suffering and he's looking after you and he's like, oh, poor, I feel sorry for you. You know what? Take a day off. He can't make his 800 pounds of cotton yearly if you're taking the day off.
Right.
Because of that, you had to work through. This brother had to work through this. He had to work through arthritis in his knees and his back pains. Keep going.
Usually only found in much older people. The third man bore the same evidence of back-breaking toil. Sometime before his death, the man with the bad knee had taken a cut to the.
So it's going back to the second brother. So it's saying the second brother that had the arthritis in the knee and the destroyed backbone or tailbone, he had taken a cut to his forehead somehow. Keep going.
A blow that cut into the bone and had only begun to heal when he died.
Now let's think about that. Read that again, Shaw, real slow.
The man with the bad knee had taken a cut to the forehead.
He had taken a cut to the forehead.
A blow that cut into the bone.
A cut that cut into the bone. Let me guess what that is. He got a rock thrown at him.
Right.
He got thrown at a tree. He fell because the master dropped him somewhere. Something that has to do with his oppressor, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Keep going.
It had only begun to heal when he died.
That means he got it before he died. That means our brother was in some type of torture and pain before he died. You know why? Because he probably couldn't make the quota of picking enough cotton.
Right.
He couldn't at a much pain and torture our brother was going through, fighting through his elements. He couldn't make the quota for his so-called slave master. And because of that, what happened? He probably got that injury from his oppressor. But you know what I'm saying? He got that injury for being off 40 pounds of cotton.
Right.
Keep going, Shaw.
His leg had also been broken.
His leg what?
Had also been broken. And never set properly.
It never set properly. Listen, his leg got broken. It was, well, that's how my leg works now. Keep going, Shaw.
Leaving the bones to heal at an angle. The man with the collection of herniated discs,
right,
had traces of green discoloration on two ribs and the vertebrae of his neck. It is likely that this individual had been shot.
He been what?
Shot.
He been what?
Shot.
You can't get the work done. What's gonna happen?
Shot.
Listen, you if you don't work faster and pick my cotton, what's gonna happen?
Had been shot.
Listen, our brother got shot, man. Just think about it. Our brother had 5 herniated discs, and his collar was disfigured from the heavy goddamn loads, man. And because of that, he might have been what, Shaw?
Shot.
Listen, the white man is the devil. The white man is the devil. To make sure that the South was cotton king, to make sure that the America made damn near 70% of the wealth from cotton, this brother had to die.
Right.
A lot of brothers had to die. Some brothers had to suffer. You think this is the only 3 brothers that suffer from elements like this? That suffered a herniated disc or backs was broken and this and that? Listen, I had an article with from New York Times, but you know New York Times, you gotta pay for the whole goddamn article now. I can't just read it to you.
Right.
But in the article, it shows that scientists found traces of a slave's muscles coming off the goddamn bone for working so goddamn hard, man. They was working so damn hard that your muscles was coming off.
Huh.
You just think about that. You go to that gym to get big and your pecs and your pectorals and your knees and whatever, right. Pectoral and this and whatever they call it, that ripped off.
Huh.
Your muscles in your arms, that ripped off. Those big guns, remember Hulk Hogan used to say these pythons? Guess what? They ripped off.
Right.
They ripped off because you kept lifting and you kept lifting and you kept lifting and you kept lifting. And you telling your master, I'm tired. I can't go no more. And he's whipping you to keep lifting. Right. And you keep lifting and you keep lifting and you keep lifting. And you tell him you're about to faint. I don't know if I can keep doing it. He's whipping you more and more. And you keep lifting and you keep lifting until your goddamn muscles tore and falls off.
Right.
Now you're useless. And what he's gonna do, he's gonna kill you. He's gonna murder you, or he might have you healed and rape your wife, rape your kids, sell them to someone else.
Right. Because
you didn't do your job. You failed at your job. That's the type of devil we deal with. That's the type of oppressor we deal with.
That's right.
Finish up, Shaw, with that. What else it says?
Had been shot and buried with the fragments in his body.
Right.
Thus resulting in a green coloration.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote archaeologist Rodrigo Barquera of the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History and his colleagues. And all 3 showed signs of poor health.
Right, listen, we show signs of poor health, man. Because guess what? What we got to eat? Starvation. Like this article says, the brothers was suffering from starvation, man.
Right.
How can you work? Just think about that. You go out for a run, go lift weights,
right,
and not get water. You dehydrated, you pooped. Woo! I did a 30-minute run, or I climbed the Stairmaster for a half an hour. Woo! I need some water. I need to replenish some energy. I need a bagel. I need something. Guess what? You can't have that. You got to keep running. You got to keep walking. That's how our ancestors did, man.
Right.
Our forefathers, our great-grandfathers, our great-grandmothers, they had to endure doing that from sun up to sundown.
Right.
What else is it, Shaw? That's it?
Come on. Spongy, porous bones in the vaults of their skull and the tops of their eye sockets.
Right.
Called cribba or bitria. Bone form like this. It's like your bone forms like this when a person is badly malnourished.
Type of malnourishment, a disease when you disfiguration of your eyes and
right,
your skull. Listen, that's what happens when you don't eat. You start looking like them Ethiopians in Africa, man.
Right. You
start looking like your belly start getting big. You know why? Because that's from the gas.
Right.
That's from the liquids in your belly. And because of you not eating, you know how evil the oppressor is? He would say, look at their bellies. They ate. They're full.
Right.
You see how big their bellies is? They don't need no food. That's how much of a devil our oppressor is. That he'll hate on the other nations, man.
Right.
Listen. Our oppressor ain't no idiot. They're scientists and archaeologists, and they go to the moon and they go off the goddamn ocean, and they're meteorologists. They do all this in the world and then come back and make fun of the so-called Africans. Look at this. Look at his belly. He ate. Why am I donated 10 cents when he's fat in the belly? Paratazar?
So if I may, and the press, the white man said, such an oppressor, that he would be eating the steak.
Right.
Why making fun of people who starve?
Right. Absolutely. He would eat a steak while people are starving. You're absolutely right. Or he'll have sex with your wife while you're taped up. But if I could, so I'll keep going.
God. Usually it's caused by iron deficiency, anemia from poor nutrition.
You could drop that, show. You could pass the phone back, but real quick, let me get Deuteronomy. Let me get Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 33. Deuteronomy chapter 38, verse 33. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get a few scriptures real quick, and then we're gonna go back into how much money they actually made, because I'm gonna bring the numbers out before we even get out of here.
Out of what you said, 38.
Yeah, Deuteronomy chapter Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 33.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse, like you said, 32, sir?
33.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 33.
Right.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
Yeah, listen, this is the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. Listen, the stuff that we put, the fruit of our land, our labors that we do, guess what? We're not going to reap the benefits of that.
Right.
The people that we don't know, guess what? They're going to eat up all that.
Right.
They're going to benefit for all that. That land that's of the Native Americans, guess what? That land produced cotton. And guess what? They didn't seek a dime for any of that. They didn't seek anything, man. Their labors, you think so-called black people is the only one who pick cotton? Don't be confused. Native Indians pick cotton too.
Right.
You think that Puerto Rican didn't pick no cotton? You think he just picked sugar cane? That boy Wheatrod, that Senora, all that, they was out here picking cotton right with you, nigga.
Right.
You think the Mexicans wasn't picking cotton? They were picking cotton too. Where we found the article we just read with the three brothers, where we found them at?
In Mexico City.
Listen, they were in Mexico picking cotton. If it wasn't cotton, guess what? It was tobacco.
Right.
If it wasn't tobacco, it was some food crop like corn or whatever that's down there in Mexico prevalent at that time. Listen, we was picking everything. But the point about it is, this is the Native Indians' lands. It's their fruits. It's their labors. But guess what? We didn't seek no benefit from that. We didn't seek nothing. It all went to people that we did not know.
Right.
It went to the so-called pilgrims, the so-called British, the Europeans, the ones that want to civilize you because you're a barbarian, you're a monster, you're a savage. So because of that, I'm gonna take your culture away from you. I'm gonna put you in chains and whip you until you pick the cotton I say is fine. And then after all said and done, we're gonna forget about it and love each other because God told me to. You ain't gonna take revenge on me because God told you should love me like you should love yourself. God loves the world. That's what he teaches us, right? He teaches us to forget about slavery. Forget about your ancestors. Listen, you forget about slavery. You know who you forget about? Your grandma.
Right.
Your grandfather. Don't go ask your grandma. Whoever has grandparents, especially in their late 80s and 90s, go ask them how they were when it's growing up. But guess what? Because if your grandparents is in the 80s and 90s, guess what they saw? They saw the civil rights. They saw the civil rights and some of the Jim Crow. You think they went through? You don't think they went through hell? some people are still enslaved right now, man, which
Right.
I got to bring out too. Because guess what? They still have brothers and sisters in slavery today, illegally, but now they're picking onions for us, man.
Right.
They picking onions for America instead of cotton. But if I could, shall I read that again?
God, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
Keep going.
And thou shalt be only oppressed.
Yeah, we shall only what?
Only be oppressed.
And that's what you're going to get. You ain't going to get the fruit of the land. You're not going to reap the benefits of thy labors. All you're going to get on a platter is what, Shaw?
Oppressed.
That's all you're going to get. It happens today. All we get is oppressed. You go to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or 5 to 11 or whatever the night shift is. Me, listen, I work overnight. I be working 7 to 7 o'clock in the damn morning. I do 12-hour shifts there Monday through Friday. And guess what? The work still has to get done, man. I'm tired right now, but guess what's more important? Waking brothers and sisters up, man.
That's right.
Let them know that you are being oppressed. I don't give a damn how tired I am, because guess what? I love my brothers and sisters so goddamn much. I'd rather goddamn be tired and let y'all know how much the white man is the devil, man.
That's right.
Why he's the devil? Because guess what? I'm not saying it because I want to say it. I'm saying it because of his actions.
Right.
I'm saying it from his history. Remember, this is his history. He told me this history. He's writing this down. I ain't write this down. I couldn't read or write. We couldn't read or write. You know why? You know what happens if we was reading and write, especially that Bible? We get whipped. You get stoned.
Right.
Your father might come up missing. Your mother might come up missing. Parataza? Right, like the sister. Listen, a sister, I forget, what was that book? When we were children, or something in the name of that. A sister got her eyes burned out for knowing the goddamn Bible. Her eyes burned out. What if you could, Shaw, find the name of that book?
It's like when we was a slave.
No, not that one. It's another book that Jeremiah Hyman brought. It's something with children. I forget. It's a book on I forget the name of it. But if you can find the name of the book, just let me know. But listen, at the end of the day, we are oppressed. That's the only gift we're gonna get.
Right.
Being here in America with this devil. Keep going, Shaw.
And crushed always.
And what?
And crushed always.
Listen, we're gonna be crushed away. That's all that's promised to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. When you work here in America, you're gonna be oppressed, and he wants to crush you.
Right.
He wants you to wither away in the dust so he could reap all the benefits that we made for them, man. Because don't be this. Listen, everything that's here in America came from slavery. You don't think Gucci and all that just came out of nowhere. Right. Don't think Louis Vuitton. Don't think Kraft macaroni and cheese and what's some other company, Shaw?
Salakia.
You know, my mind going blank right now. You know what I'm saying? All these companies out there that we work for or you see, guess what? They benefited from slavery. Don't forget the banks too, Shaw.
I was about to say that Chase.
Yeah. Listen, don't forget these banks too. Right. Because guess what? They loaned blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. If you ain't know that, they put loans out for us. They had to pay loans back. That's the only thing that they had to pay back was the loan they took out on 100 blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. If you was a young buck, as they used to call us on the electric block, on the block where they used to have us sold right on Wall Street, I think he's a good young buck. Right. I think he's this. I think he's that. And guess what happened? They rented you out. They loaned you out. Right. You know why? Because you was making them millions of dollars. Right. Millions of dollars. Keep going, Shaw.
Verse 34. So that thou shall be mad for the sight of thine eyes,
right,
which thou shalt see.
Right. So that so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thy eyes, which thou shalt see. Listen, man, you're gonna be they're gonna be upset, man. You're gonna be truly upset at all this that you'll see. Right. You know why? Because you're too busy. The water, sir. The name of the book is Tell All the Children Our Story. Right, that's the name of the book. And in that book, like I said, is that the sister's eyes was goddamn burned out her eye socket. You know why? Because she knew that she found out she was the child of God. She found out that the oppressor, what he was doing to us, was unlawful.
Right.
She found out that they supposed to be on the bottom and we supposed to be on the top. And because she knew how to read the Bible, guess what? She got her eyes burned out.
Right.
She got her eyes burned out, but that did not stop our sister for letting our brothers know what the truth is. You know why? Because those eyes burned out reminded her every day that the white man was the devil. And because of that, I'm gonna make sure my brothers and sisters know, regardless who we are and what should be done. And what should be done is we should come together as brothers and sisters under the law, statutes, and commandments, man.
That's right.
Regardless of what happens to us, man. You are oppressed, guess what? Follow the law, statutes, and commandments.
That's right.
You out there dying in the street, guess what? Follow the law, statutes, and commandments. If our oppressor wants to put us back into slavery and make us pick goddamn tobacco this time, the difference is we should all stick together and follow the laws, statutes, and commandments, man.
Right.
That's the difference this time. This time we know better. We know who we are this time around. We at the point of time where we know who the devil is. We know who Jesus Christ is. Jesus Christ is a black man. The God in heaven is a so-called black man. Right. The angels are black people. Those prophets, King David, he was a black man. We know now this time around. So because of that, we should learn to stick together and love each other.
That's right.
If I could, Shaw, drop that. Give me Exodus chapter 1 verse 11. Let's start there. Let me get Exodus chapter 1 verse 11. But the water to Captain Zakar on the book title. Right, Exodus chapter 1 verse 11.
Exodus chapter 1 verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters.
Right. So listen, I'm bringing this out to let you know there's nothing new under the sun, man. And remember, where we at right here in America is spiritually Egypt.
Right.
You know why it's spiritually Egypt? Because in Egypt, they did the same thing to us that they're doing today.
Right.
The Egyptians knew who we were. And because we multiplied and they did all us in hard bondage, he tried to destroy us. But you know what the problem was? We kept getting more. We kept multiplying. Right. Kept getting bigger. We kept getting bigger. No matter how much they threw our way, guess what happened? You kept multiplying. You kept multiplying to the point where he's going to the midwives and it's like, I need you to kill every firstborn son that's an Israelite because that's the only way to destroy them.
Right.
But if I could, Shaw, read what it says again.
Exodus chapter 1 verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore they did set over the taskmasters.
Listen, the Pharaoh at this time, he set over taskmasters over us. What happened? And what happened, Shaw?
To afflict them.
To do what?
Afflict them.
Listen, they set over taskmasters to afflict us. That's what's going on today. Don't listen. Those police officers you see out there, those are taskmasters.
Right.
That oppressor you work for, that's a taskmaster, man.
Right.
Your president, so-called, what's it, Joe Biden? That's a goddamn taskmaster. That's a taskmaster that they set over us because we're in hard bondage, man. Keep going, Shaw.
With their burdens.
Mm-hmm.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities.
Right. Read it from the top one more time, Slakia.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters.
Right.
To afflict them with their burdens.
Listen. Keep going.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities.
Right.
Fight them and Ramses.
Right. So we worked so hard and it was in burden from these taskmasters that we built great cities. And guess what we did here in America? We built great cities, man.
Right.
We built New York. We built Florida. You see Disney World? Guess where that money came from?
Right.
It came from a nigga. Don't be dismayed. It came from a black man. It came from a black woman. It came from a Hispanic man, a Hispanic woman, a Native Indian man, a Native Indian woman. You know why? Because that money comes all the way back to us, man.
Right.
It comes back to us. You know why? Because they were getting stuff tax-free. And when I mean tax-free is they didn't have to, they didn't have to pay you. They didn't have to pay us.
Right.
Everything was 1,000% increase. Everything was profit for them. But for us, we didn't get nothing. We got burnings and taskmasters and work with hard rigor. That's what we got. But drop down to verse 13, Shaw.
Exodus chapter 1, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
And the Egyptians
Uh-huh.
made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
But listen, we would serve with rigor. If you don't know what that is, look that up real quick, Shaw. Because everybody might not know what rigor is. You might be like, what does that mean? They made us work with rigor? What is that? Let's see what that is, man. When you get the chance, read what the definition of rigor is. It says the Egyptian made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. We in Exodus chapter 1, verse 13. Read when you got it, Shaw.
Rigor, the quality of being extremely thorough, exhaustive, or accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Demanding,
difficult,
or extreme condition.
Listen, that's how our oppressor made us work. Don't he make us work like that today? Read it one more time, Shaw. How does our oppressor make us work today in 2021? Demanding. Your oppressor is demanding. Your boss said you gotta be here tomorrow, or you're fired, man. You gotta do the double shift. I need you to get this before the end of the week.
Right.
He's what, Shaw?
Difficult.
He's difficult, man. Your oppressor is difficult. Your job is difficult. Those police officers, that's taskmaster, they're what, Shaw?
Difficult.
They're difficult. Because you're not supposed to be around here. What are you doing around here? You don't live around here. You live down in the east side. You live up there, you live up in the numbers. What are you doing down here in these numbers? Keep going, Shaw. What else?
Or extreme conditions.
Or in extreme conditions. Don't we work in extreme conditions?
God.
It's snowing outside. It's blizzard. Some of us might have to go to work tomorrow. If you work for the school, guess where you going in the morning? You work in the school and you're a custodian. Guess what you doing during the blizzard? You're not home with the children. The children get to be like, yes, Xbox. You got to wake up early and do what? Plow the goddamn field, plow the steps, plow the driveway, plow the parking lot, put the salt down for why? So the kids can try to make it to school the next day or the day after. We work, what kind of conditions, Shaw?
Extreme conditions.
We work in extreme conditions. If you're what you call it? A garbage man, it might be raining outside.
Right.
Listen, cats and dogs. I'll never forget. I had a sanitation job when I was real young. I had a summer job. Then I worked my way up and got full time. I remember the first rainy day as a sanitation worker. I'm telling you, it's the worst thing you could absolutely go through. Ain't nothing worse than when your socks, your boots, your boxes, all that is wet. You don't care about life no more. And mind you, I'm still getting soaked on the car, holding on. Got to pick up the garbage and do this for an hour. Listen, the rain might stop, but guess what? I'm still wet down to my socks. Right. We have to work what, Shaw?
Or extreme conditions.
That's working with hard rigor. That's what our brothers was doing before. That's what we doing now. What else is there, Shaw? Real quick.
Two more, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Harshness.
Harshness?
Strictness.
Listen, strictness. Your oppressor is strict, man. He's strict. Keep going.
That's about it, sir.
All right, listen, that's all right. Your brother, don't worry about it. It's all good. Don't worry about it. It's a blessing to have your son in here or daughter in here.
That's right.
It's a blessing. Let him walk around. That's all right. It's all right. If he want to walk around, don't worry about him. Don't worry. He's safe in here.
Right.
Out there is where the problem is. You know what I'm saying? Well, our oppressor is making us work ourselves to death. Keep going, Shaw, with the scripture.
Verse 14.
Right.
And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage.
They made our what?
Lives bitter with hard bondage.
Listen, and that's our oppressor. That's what happens in Egypt, and that's what's happened today. We're working with hard bondage, man, because our oppressor is the devil.
Right.
Just like how the Egyptians was onto us hard, working hard with rigor and wanted us eradicated. That's how America sees us. That's how come we can make over 800 million for our oppressor, man.
Right.
Keep going, Shaw.
in mortar,
Mm-hmm.
and in brick,
Right.
and in all manner of service in the field.
Right.
Or their service, wherein they made them serve, was with rigor.
Well, listen, and that's how our oppressor is, man. That is why it's important for brothers and sisters need to come together in these laws, statutes, and commandments. Because you don't think our oppressor could change his mind? Listen, he could change his mind at any time.
Right.
And guess what happened? We right back in the Maccabees.
Right.
We right back in the Maccabees where we have to put our faith to the goddamn test.
Right.
They're gonna be like, listen, you gonna eat this pork? You gonna say that this white Jesus, this right here, this is the real Jesus? Are you gonna proclaim him as your Lord and Savior? Or we gonna kill you?
Right.
Or you know what? You have to be a legal slave now. You know why? Because in America's eyes, we seen you as terrorists. Right. And because you're a terrorist, guess what happens in America? You have no rights. All your rights go out the window when America sees you as a terrorist. I hope everyone knows that, right?
Right.
So it might be a time where we are legally labeled as terrorists, and they might give you a choice. They might give you a choice and be like, listen, we might have to work you to death because now you have to slave and make America great legally, or you could just bow down to this so-called wonderful white Jesus. This white Jesus that loves everybody, the one that protects America, the one that has blonde hair and saves everyone. And when you die, you go to heaven and meet everybody. This is the one that you need to bow down and proclaim your sovereignty to. Don't be fooled. It might be a day that happens again. It happened before, and guess what? There's nothing new under the sun, and it most likely will happen again.
Right.
And your faith will absolutely be put to the test. It will absolutely be put to the test. Will you be down to die with your brothers, and God, or are you going to be a slave? Like some of our brothers and forefathers did back then.
Right.
They gave in, and what happened? Some stayed in Egypt. Remember that. Some didn't all leave in Egypt. Some stayed.
Right.
I want to stay here with the flesh pots and the bread and the wine and the beer. Paratazar?
Even when the brothers and sisters left,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to go back.
Right. Even when the brothers and sisters did leave, because we didn't have no faith. We didn't have no faith. God done took you out of Egypt. He done showed you that he parted the Red Sea. He done guide you by a cloud by day and a flame by night. And we still didn't believe. We still wanted to go back in Egypt with the hard bondage because what? They had bread. They had flesh pots. They had beef and turkey and salmon. It's going to happen here again. You don't think so? You don't think that's going to happen? But this time you're going to burn with your goddamn slave master this time, man.
Right.
You're going to burn with him. But if I could, let's go back to I don't want to go back into the article. This is what I want to do. I want to show real quick on how much money they made, because that's important. Out of this whole thing, Ashol, let me see the laptop real quick. I have it here, but I want you to see it on the screen so you can read it too. Let me open it for you. Oh, it's open already. Salak, I didn't know it was open. But right here, if you go down into the pictures, I have it right here in the picture. Boom, right here. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. There you go. Right there. You see where it is? I don't know if it's a little small handwriting, but I want you to read it from the top real quick, if you can. If you can't, let me know. I'll just read it. But if you could go up a little bit, where it says from 1833, you see that? Of the picture with the chart?
From 1833.
Right. To 1837. You see it, or it's too difficult for you? Where do you see on the screen?
What do I see?
Yeah, can you zoom up on the I'm talking about from the app, the laptop. With the picture?
I don't know how to zoom on your laptop.
All right, no sweat here. We're gonna exchange. Here, take the phone. It's a little bit easier. Just pass me the laptop. Right there on the picture on the top is better for you if you could read it. You see it?
Card.
Yeah, read it if you can. If not, I'll just read it. It's no big deal if you have a problem.
Kind of small, sir.
All right, I'll read it. Let me see. I'll zoom in. All right, it says from 1833 to 1837, $80,321,000 was invested in bank capitals for the state of Missouri, Louisiana, Arkansas, Florida, and Alabama. So it says from 1833 to 1837. That's how much money was given to those states. For what? Cotton. Right? Just follow along with me right now. So it says of this 32,321,000 were state loans. So out of that money, out of the 800 million, 32,321 was state loans. Now you gotta remember, this is 80 million in 1833 and 1837. It is not the same as today. 8 million in 1837 is way more than what it is today, man. Inflation for money back then is totally different. Well, I'm talking about when it says 18 million, it's goddamn in the billions. That's how much money they gave to these states. So out of the 80.3 million, it says 32.3 million were state loans. And the reminder of private means. All this with interest and profits to the planters was to be earned out of future crops. While the capital was going, they were prospering. As soon as it ceased to go, difficulties commenced, and where invest was to be paid, revision began. Let's see. The outcry for banking and capital as a remedy for pressure was immersed. By different means, these difficulties were subside. The land then entered for cultivation was yield its rich produce in excess of indebtedness. In exchange or in favor of the Southwest and West. That is to say, the amount of sales is greater than that of their purchases. In order to trace the effect of land accompanied upon the present and future crops of cotton, we may form the land office reports, take a table of the sales of public lands annually in new cotton states with the annual products of those states and the whole crop. And the acres of the United States land in the new cotton states, crop of the states in total in the United States. So right here, right? Y'all can't see it. But right here on the bottom of certain states, it has Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Florida. So they're letting you know how much money they made during these years. All right. So I want people to keep this in. Before I read it, I want people to keep this in mind. This is important. It says, this table, in connection with what we have said in relations to the bank capital, involves the fact that vast importance to the planting and interest. In the 3 years from 1835 to 1838, over 60 million of capital was implied to the production of cotton, mostly bringing into culture over 12 million acres of most polluted land. So this is letting you know, listen, it's actually ridiculous. All right, so let me break this down for you. So right here, right? So it's letting you know from 1835 to 1838 is when it started booming, where they got the 600 million investment for these states. So Alabama, right, in 1833 only made $451,000, basically, right? I'm basically rounding it off. Mississippi made $1,221,000. Arkansas made $42,000. Florida made $12,000. And it's letting you know all together how much acres in general they all had. They had about almost 2 million acres. How much bale crops they had was 559,000, right? So let's go to where they started making, or they started getting loans, right? To get more cotton done, right? So let's see. So Alabama from 18, sloggy. All right, so from 1833, remember, Alabama only made $451,000, right? But when they got the loans from the banks, when they got more land, when they got more slaves, it damn near doubled, it damn near tripled. They made over $1,600,000. That's how much more they made when the banks got involved. Remember what I'm saying to you. This is millions of dollars during 1833.
Right.
It's not the $1 million you see that your oppressor with today. This is talking about the money from 1833. This is how I'm gonna put it in perspective because we did the math real quick on something else, right? Where is it? So lock in 1 second. All right, so here it is, right? The banks gave them 600 million, right? So 6 million in 1835 is worth, and today would be, let me say this right, $1,885,834,000. That's how much 600 million is in 1835. That's how much money they gave these 5 states. Remember, they gave 5 states this amount of money for slavery to make sure cotton was booming. Paratazar.
Even back then, remember that paper money was backed up by gold.
Right. Right. Gold.
Yeah, it wasn't no paper.
Right.
And gold.
Yeah. Listen, absolutely. And even if it was paper, remember, back then, money was legal tender back then. Now it's not legal tender. Back then, you could exchange the money then for gold. Like, yeah, I'm gonna exchange this note for the gold, and they will exchange it. Now, your money says this is not legal tender. You can't go and exchange that $5 in your pocket for gold. You can't do that no more. Wait, say that again, sis? Right, absolutely. Right, it has no goddamn value. You know why? Because your oppressor wants the money in the goddamn banks. Right. He has gold bars in different places because he knows where his money is. He keeps you as slaves, man. But that's why I want everybody to realize the perspective on how much money was being made. Don't think about today's standards. You think of $1 million and 600 million. That's not a lot. Where they were making billions. They was passing around billions of dollars amongst each other. And mind you, this was only 5 states, 5-6 states that this 600 million was being distributed to so they could make more money. They could buy more land. They could get more bills. Paratazar.
This is during the time when we was enslaved. America was great.
Right, and that it absolutely, America was great during this time, and that's what Trump wanted to bring back.
Right.
Trump knew about that. Trump wanted to make us slaves again. That's what he really wanted. That's why he wanted to build that wall.
Right.
He wants that wall built. You know why? So we could keep the Mexican slaves over there. Not try to help them over here so they could be so-called free people. I need them to be so we can make money in Mexico. I need Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to keep working over here in COVID. I need y'all to be essential workers because the economy has to keep going. You see what happens when we don't work, right? You see what happens that the goddamn America falls apart. Look at Times Square. Look at the Wall Street. We're still suffering from COVID, man. Other
Right.
places in America are fine.
Right.
You go to Texas and Florida, they don't give a damn about no masks. They don't care about COVID. But here, they take it so serious because the stock market, the money is here, the bonds is here, the gold is here. If America falls, listen, that's why they have those things in the movies where every disaster in America, that's in America, New York is blowing up. Times Square is blowing up. The Wall Street is blowing up. You know why? Because it's devastated to America once New York is gone. You want to see how serious things get? Let's say some other country talks about blowing up New York and see how serious it is. They don't care about Mississippi or Minnesota or Wyoming or whatever state that's all the way up there. Who gives a damn? But let it be New York blowing up. Let New York blow up and see how serious the president takes it. Sure.
I got information from Officer Yahanna.
Right.
He said 60 million equals 1.8 billion.
Right. Yeah, I read that.
Come.
Yeah, it equals to 1.8 billion back in that time. That's how much money that they were passing around. You know what I'm saying? But real quick, let me. And this is to show you. Look, listen, Mississippi. You know how racist Mississippi is, right? Mississippi was just booming. Listen, the most Mississippi made was $2 million, basically $2 million, $2 million, basically that Mississippi made. No, Salaki, it made almost $3 million because they got the loan for their banks, man. $3 million, and guess how much more acres they got? They got 5 million more acres of land. That's how much more money, how much more land they bought from the banks, man. They took cotton serious because that's how much money we were making them. Right. Just think about it. Where this bank is getting $60 million is because we were picking that much cotton. Where is the bank giving out loans of $1.8 billion? It's because niggas was picking cotton until their arms fell off, right, till their legs fell off, until your collarbone was reshaped. Paratazar.
Yeah, so, like if I may,
Uh-huh.
where was they getting that land from? You know what I mean? Where was they getting that land?
The land, look, no, remember the land was there. It's just the land was they didn't have the money. So, but because of how much cotton was booming, the banks was like, listen, we need to make the quota on this cotton. So what happens? They let the loan out to the most states who has the most slaves and who could pick the most cotton. So Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Florida. These 5 states was the most with picking cotton. So the banks attributed the 1.8 billions to these states. So what they did was they went out there and bought the most land they can, loaned out the most slaves they could, get the more bills they could. You know why? Because that's how important cotton was to America, that we had to get it, that we had to make this cotton. We had to get it. The world depended on slaves making cotton, picking cotton, picking cotton. You know why? The Asian man depended on it. The Russian man, the Spaniard, the French man, with the Eiffel Tower, he depended on some goddamn cotton from a nigga in America picking it. So because of that, the banks, they had to loan out all this money. But the problem is not the loaning out the money, is how they get the money in the first place. How do they have 1.8 billion to give out? That's how much money cotton was making for them. That's how much they depended on it, that they could loan out 1.8 billion. And now you start seeing, and when you start doing history, you start realizing how much money our oppressor really is, how much he has. All that money, you can see how they can have Gucci, Louis Vuitton, these airports, these real estate companies, the land companies, the construction sites. How you think goddamn Times Square? Oh, look at America. Look at Times Square in Manhattan back in the early 1900s. It was dirt. It was dirt. It was ugly. Listen, you went out there to work. Guess what? You was coming home with some muddy pants and boots. And guess what? The money we made for them helped build the roads. How made the skyscrapers. Those planes you see landing in LaGuardia and JFK, you better thank that nigga Tyrone on the street. You better thank Tyrone. The one that's high on drugs no one loves. You better thank him that there's a skyscraper or a job you could go to. That sister that's suffering from depression because she swears no one loves her, you better thank her that there's a goddamn train on every goddamn corner, man. You see the subway, you better thank Koisha. You better thank her because she's the reason why there's a goddamn subway in a goddamn New York. Because her ancestors helped build here, man. Our ancestors helped build the goddamn America. But if I could, Charles, let me get you know what? Before we start, let me get this article real quick.
Come on.
Let me get the article on the Mexicans real quick. Real quick. I don't think I sent it to you. Do you have it? No, you don't have my phone. Sorry. Let me see. Let me get the article real quick. No, I didn't send it to you, but I'm gonna give it to you right now. You have my phone, Shaw?
Come on.
Let me see the phone real quick. I need to read this real quick. This is important. This is real important because this comes full circle. Here we go. So I'm gonna send it to you. All right. So there you go. Because I want that much time left, but I want you to read this article. Why is it important? Why they putting our Mexican brothers back into slavery, man? They putting them back into slavery because all that money was tax-free. All that billions was tax-free. And now, guess what? They still doing it to this day. These southern states, guess what? They still putting brothers and sisters in slavery illegally. You got the link, Shaw? Read what you got. Read with the top.
U.S. slavery, 2021, human trafficking.
What?
Human trafficking.
And what year, Shaw?
2021.
Keep going.
Human trafficking trapped hundreds of migrant workers picking onions for 20 cents.
How much?
20 cents per bucket in South Georgia as part of years-long 200 million.
How much million?
200 million.
How much they making illegally?
200 million.
How much money the oppressors making off our Mexican brothers illegally?
200 million.
Listen, your white man's the devil, man.
Right.
He's worried about our sisters not having. Listen, you know they were beefing about our Black and Hispanic and Native Indian sisters braiding hair without no goddamn certificates. You know they was trying to make it illegal for a sister to come over to another sister's house and braid her hair because she don't got a goddamn certificate that says she can't braid hair. The white man's the devil, man.
That's right.
He's making our brothers work illegally and making 200 million year long. Listen, let America burn, man. Let this burn.
That's right.
Let it burn. He doesn't care if Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are here legally or not. He's gonna use us. Keep going, Shaw.
Operation that saw 2 die and another repeatedly raped. So like you said, go down.
Yeah, go down. Just start off with the. It says a modern day slavery ring.
A modern day slavery ring has been busted in Georgia, where workers are kidnapped and imprisoned and squalid prosecutors. The crooks ranked in more than 200 million by luring in over 100 desperate migrants.
How much?
100 desperate migrants.
Right. It says the crooks ranked in more than 200 million. Keep going.
200 million by luring in over 100 desperate migrants from Mexico and Central America
Right.
to the U.S., a federal indictment says. At least 2 people died in the brutal conditions that saw workers forced.
All right, brother. All right, sis, y'all get home safe. Y'all good at getting home? You sure? All right. If y'all need anything, remember y'all could come back and ask for it. All right. All right now. Keep going, Shaw.
Come on, to handpick onions at gunpoint
Mm-hmm.
for just 20 cents per bucket in sweltering heat. And another was repeatedly kidnapped and raped.
Right.
They were kept in squatted camps surrounded by electric fences.
So like 1 second. It said at least 2 people died in the brutal conditions that saw workers forced to handpick onions at gunpoint for 20 cents per bucket and sweltering heat. Listen, our brothers is going through the same torment we were going through years ago, 400 years ago. Guess what? They were going through it too.
Right.
But this time they trying to hide it, man. Our brothers was at gunpoint picking onions for 20 cents. The white man is the devil, man. Keep going.
Right. Come on. They were kept in squatted camps surrounded by electric fences or cramped living quarters.
Right.
Including dirt with raw sewage leaks.
Right.
The migrants also reportedly had their passports and documents taken from them to deter them from escaping.
Listen, our oppressor wanted to make sure they had no legal documents. He couldn't come or go. They made it to the point that they had to stay in these goddamn slavery camps, man. He had to stay a slave and work for 20 cents picking goddamn picking onions in a bucket, 20 cents a bucket, man. Keep going, Shaw.
Come on. 2 dozen members of the alleged gang have now been indicted on mail fraud,
Right,
forced labor, money laundering, and witness tampering charges following a 3-year multi-agency federal probe known as Operation Blooming Onion. Only 2 of the defendants are described as South Georgia business owners. Most are contractors and recruiters.
right.
There were essentially 3 aspects to the alleged human trafficking operation. Misusing the H-2A visa program to bring in workers from Mexico.
Right, so they were trying to bring in workers from Mexico. Keep going.
Guatemala and Honduras.
Listen, this is all our southern, northern kingdom brothers. Keep going.
Under the pretext of being agricultural.
On the pretense of what?
Under the pretext of being agricultural.
Agricultural workers. So they told them as a pretense, like, listen, you're gonna do agriculture. You're gonna come here and plant and farm. You're gonna do this. That's what you're gonna come to America could do. You know why? Because they're prevalent at doing that in all these other countries. Our brothers and sisters, all these other countries, guess what they know how to do? They know how to farm and plant. They know how to grow stuff good. So guess what? They were like, why don't y'all come out here? We're gonna bring it out here, get you a visa. You gonna help us plant. Paratazar?
Oh, so like it's, you always notice with the oppressor, they never go after the companies that's bringing these, you know what I'm saying, so-called illegals in.
Right.
They always go after the migrant workers.
Right.
They always go after the migrant, but not the companies who's bringing them in.
Right. Keep going, Shaw.
Come. Abusing and exploiting the workers to make money and laundering the proceeds to big cash purchases.
Right.
Cashier's checks in a casino. Investigators have dubbed the gang the Patricio, TCO, a transnational criminal organization.
Right.
After Maria Patricio, a 70-year-old resident of Nicholas, Georgia.
So listen, there's some old woman behind all this. Keep going.
She is accused of filing fraudulent petitions to bring workers into the United States via the country's H-2A work visa program. Patricio has pleaded not guilty to the charges against her, Vice reports.
Listen, and it gets into other things, but we don't got that much time. But let me get this scripture, man. Let me get Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha 25:7. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to bring that article out because to let you know that our oppressor don't never change. He stays the same time period is, and whether he's a Greek, a Roman, a Spaniard, a goddamn a European, a British, he's gonna do an American. He's gonna continue to put our people in slave and make money off us, man. But there's something important out of all this. There is something important Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians should remember, man. When we come together, there's something that we're gonna look forward to, man. Read when you get it, Shaw.
So like you said, Ecclesiasticus.
Yeah, Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 7.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 7.
Uh-huh.
There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy.
Listen, there's 9 things to be judged in my heart to be happy. Keep going.
And the 10th I will utter with my tongue.
Keep going.
A man that has joy of his children.
Listen, a man, listen, this is a grateful thing that is to say, man. And to see. It's a man that what?
A man that has joy of his children.
Listen, a man that has joy of his children is a wonderful thing to see a man have children, man. You know why? Because you get to see your children grow. Right. You get to raise your child the way you want them to go. You want them to serve the Lord, grow up, not be scared. If you have a son, guess what? He's not going to be scared, man.
Right.
He's going to know to fear the Lord. He's going to know to have brotherhood. And you're going to watch him get older and get older. And you're going to see him turn into a man of war, a man of the Lord. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to do the same thing you did.
Right.
He's going to go out there and save his people. Make sure his brothers, to make sure his son grow up to be like that. You might have a daughter, and guess what? You're going to watch her grow up. You're going to watch her grow up to be the most wonderful princess ever, man. She ain't going to be disrespectful to a man. She going to know how to do wonderful things. She going to be a mother to Israel. She going to nurture a man when he's needed of. She's going to look at her sister and lift her up. She's going to worry about the nation of Israel.
Right.
And not only that, your children belong to the Lord. Your children is a heritage to the Lord, and you're going to make sure that they follow in the Lord's footsteps.
That's true.
But there's something else that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians should look forward to. Keep going.
Oh, God. And he that liveth.
And he that what?
Liveth.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian, we going to what?
Liveth.
We going to make it through this, man. We're going to make it through this oppression. When we come together and serve our God in heaven, we're going to do what, y'all?
Live it.
We're going to live it, man. We're going to live through all this oppression and hard bondage and working with rigor and being oppressed and not getting paid and having a gun pointed at us for picking goddamn onions onions a bucket and making 20 cents.
Right.
Or working Monday through Friday picking cotton till your goddamn collarbone be reformed. Or you have 5 herniated discs that your America makes $1.6 billion off of you. We gonna what, y'all?
Live it.
We're going to make it through this hellhole as our people, man. As the children of Israel, we're going to live it and do what, y'all?
To see.
We're going to see something. We're going to make it out of this hellhole and see what, y'all?
The fall.
The what?
The fall.
The what?
The fall.
We're going to watch the fall of what?
Of his enemies.
Of our enemies, man. And that's going to be a glorious thing. That's going to be a glorious sight, man.
Right.
Because you're going to make it through all that we went through. You're going to make it through all the oppression, all the gang violence, all the murdering, all the whoring, all the deaths of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians from the hand of your oppressor. You're going to live through all that to see the fall of what, y'all?
His enemy.
And what else it says?
Verse 8.
No, that's fine. Now you're gonna see the fall of his enemy, man. You gonna watch the fall of your oppressor, man. That's the most glorious thing you can see.
Right.
And that's in the goddamn scripture, man. It's in the scripture.
That's right.
That it's gonna be it's a marvelous thing to watch your son or your child grow up and to see the fall of your goddamn enemy. You know why? Because everybody don't get to see the fall of their enemies,
That's
man.
Right.
Your grandfather wish he could see the fall of the oppressor, man. You know how much stories your grandfather tells you?
Right.
Your grandma tell you how much hardship they went through, wishing somebody would stop the oppressor from doing this, wishing what? Swing low, sweet chariot.
That's right.
Right? We sung that in the fields. You know why? Because we wanted it to go home to Jerusalem, right? This scripture says otherwise. This scripture says we're going to live to see the fall of our enemies.
That's right.
And it's going to be a wonderful thing. You know why? Because you're going to watch your enemies fall. And guess what? It's going to be a reverse. The roles is going to be reversed, man. The roles is going to be absolutely reversed. And guess what now? Your oppressor is picking cotton. He's picking cotton until his muscles falls off.
That's right.
He's picking cotton until his goddamn 2 ankles fuse together.
Right.
He's picking cotton until his face melts from the goddamn sun because he can't be in the sun all day. He's going to pick cotton until they beg for sunscreen.
That's right.
They're going to be selling sunscreen to each other. That's going to be a commodity amongst them.
Right.
They're going to be like, how much sunscreen you got? Oh, he must be one of the great workers.
Right.
Because he has abundance of sunscreen. They must love him because he picks so much cotton so fast that he has a tub full of sunscreen to prevent him from burning up from the goddamn sun, man. But we're going to watch the fall of our enemies. Thus said the Lord in heaven, man. But guess what? You got to get off drugs first.
Right.
You got to stop loving your brother first.
Right.
You got to start loving that sister first, man.
That's right.
And then only then, guess what? That slave, that oppressor, that slaves you all day, it's going to be his turn to be a slave.
Right.
It's going to be it's going to be your turn to knock on his door like, Mr. Johnson, where are you? How are you doing, man? Listen, I know I said you was off today, but I need you to go in the field. I know your wife is giving birth at any minute now. I know she is, but I need you to go pick that cotton like you told my grandfather millenniums ago to do. I need you to go out there and pick that cotton for me now, and don't half step on it now. I need you to pick it good now. I need you to pick it good. I need you to pick it like how your father used to, because you know your father used to pick good cotton.
Right.
And I breed your father to make you so you could pick some good cotton for me now. And I want you to go out there. Here's some sunscreen. I need you to go out there and pick the best cotton you can because Jerusalem depends on it. The new Jerusalem depends on it. I need more gold rolls.
Right.
We need more gold roads. You know, the scripture said we're going to have gold roads, right? We're going to have diamond gates and diamond buildings. You know why? Because they're going to be picking what? How much bales? Over 500,000 bales? Well, they got to pick 1 million bales for us.
Right.
They got to.
That's right.
But only if blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians gather together first, man.
That's right.
Only if we gather together first. But with that, we the ISUPK coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We've been doing this since 1969, letting the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians know that you are the lost sheep of the house of Israel under Commander General Yahanna, man.
That's right.
We have food drives. We have prison programs, man. Don't be fooled by that either. Those other people out there are not helping people in the prisons, but we goddamn sure are helping our brothers in the prison systems too, man.
That's right.
That's the new slavery that they put on blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They couldn't legally put you in slavery. So you know what they did? They made the prison slavery.
Right.
They slaving you in prisons and having you work it off. And guess what? You buying new Whole Foods is buying prison labor. But as I said, we have prison programs, food drives, counseling. We got classes Monday through goddamn Monday, man. But with that, Israel, I say shalom.
Clap for class.